Who's starter?
That's my starter.
You do need to start at grade 3 to be able to keep up.
Honestly. Fucking goddamn. So far.
Alright, hello everyone. This is Leo from the Monkeys Making Misplaced channel. We're here doing the gameplay between the Alestiel deck and the Prism deck that we've just shown off on the channel. These decks are actually pretty fun. Both of them are actually, I think, decently strong. Alestiel has some really good aggression if it can get to its combo, and with its ability to just tutor any Blackwing, kind of lets you set it up so easily. And then the Prism deck has a lot of filtering and a lot of like specific unit like calling, so you get to thin your deck very effectively. Unfortunately, that won't be showcased very well in this gameplay for the Prism deck. There is a certain moment where it kind of becomes apparent that Prism is probably not going to win this game, but you know, we have to play it out. But I believe I go first here. Mold 2 back. I'm trying to search for just essentially some good discard fodder. That's usually what I'm searching for. Cat is deciding whether to do 3 or 2, and I think he goes with 3. Alright, here he goes. Both of these decks are actually really fun. We didn't think they would be... I mean, we've been doing a lot of lyrical decks lately because, you know, we had set 14 come out, or not set 14, set 4 for lyrical. And, you know, a lot of these decks got upgrades, you know, some new decks were introduced, so we're just trying to get those last couple decks out. And since we're not just putting, you know, lyrical always, or a lyrical video every week, we have tried to put breaks in between. But I think this is going to be the last one. We probably won't be doing Charmant and Sienna, but we are definitely getting Luhan and Sedalance or Sedlance. I don't remember what the English translation is, but I started off, I discarded Strega, which I do think was a misplay on my part here. I just believed that I would probably find another one later on in the game. Cat pitches a draw trigger, and then he's going to bind for the Alestiel, and he gets the PG, which means he's on White Wings, which means next turn he can just Soul Blast 1 to right instead of having a discard. He gets a critical here, which already off to a bad start on my end, having to get crit right away, but we'll push through. I think here I'll discard a trigger. Nope, I discard a Late to ride into the Willista. I have the order in hand, so I'm just searching for the second copy of it to just deck thin. Yep, get the other one. Just this is just a good way to like deck thin your deck. You get rid of 2 cards, you build up some soul. Technically, this means that my next turn with my grade 3 Prism is going to be very good. I get a bunch of shield. I get to trade in a lot of these orders, so I'm going to just go ahead and play the order card here. Draw 2 cards, one for the Vanguard, one for the order. Goes in a soul. Vanguard gains 5. And then here I believe I'm going to call the grade 2, yeah, the Strega. Check top 5. I believe I hit the aura. Yeah, this turn is actually a very good turn for me, now that I remember it correctly. I have a second Strega, I believe. Let's see. This game was recorded a while ago, so I might be... Yep, I have the second Strega. So I will check top 5 again, and then off of this top 5, I find another aura. So that means that I have 2 on-hit columns, which means that he's either going to have to guard both of them or let me search for the order, which is a very key part of this deck. Let me finish shuffling here. Pass the dice or pass the deck over to Cat so he can cut, and then turn sideways. I'll swing with the first Strega column. I think he guards this one. Then I swing with the second Strega column, and then he makes a joke about using the card that's bound, but fortunately he does have to take this, so I will retire the aura. I do believe I search for a sweet here. If not the Blitz order, I do believe it's just the sweet for next turn. Yeah, we'll get the sweet for next turn. And then we're just going to swing with the Vanguard. I think he's going to, again, no guard it just because he doesn't want to commit another card to hand. Or another card to guard. But, God, I shuffled for so long. Yeah, but here we go. So, swing with Vanguard. Heal trigger, so I do heal, healing the Late. he hits Fanael, I believe is the name of that grade 2. But here he just Soul Blast to right up, puts the grade 1 on the bottom, and then binds the next card, and it's a heal, so that means that he's on black wings, which means he can make it so that I can't use triggers to guard, which I say, yeah, no pass, and then he just hits me for 1 here. Get a crit, go to my turn again. Let's just, I believe I discard a Sweet Sweet because I had an extra copy of it in hand. I'm going to use the Labrador ability to bounce one of the Stragas back to hand. Right. Yep. Soul Blast 1, bounce one of the Stragas, and then I will play the Sweet Sweet, right? No, I played Pretty Demon Chord. I wasn't going for a kill turn here, so I essentially just wanted to target the Straga so that it would bounce back at the end of turn, and I would just go for a 4 attack turn instead of a 5 attack one. Yep. Here's Celtic, gets +5, and I believe I have the Late in hand. Or not? Yeah. Well, swing for 15 here. Vanguard got a 5 from the bounce of the Straga. Yeah, this turn was a very underwhelming turn for me, honestly. But I didn't think I should really commit too much to the board, especially with how easily or how much hand Cat had, so it was kind of a waste for me to overcommit. But here I do get to pressure again with the Straga for the on hit, which he gets a heal trigger, so he heals 1, which means I pretty much don't do any damage this turn, which is unfortunate. But I get to search again, get another Sweet Sweet. I have considered playing Blitz orders, a couple more of the lyrical Blitz orders to just get some extra cards. Maybe even play the lyrical, or not the lyrical, the Regalis Piece Blitz order, since I'm not playing Chalice in this deck either. I could consider that, but you know, here we go with Vanguard, and I call the Celtic just in case I hit a trigger. So Celtic gets 5. Vanguard swinging for 15. I do play front, so if I get a front, that would be perfect, but unfortunately nothing. And I think I just Soul Blast to bounce, but I might just keep it to have an interceptor. Yeah, I say no attacks, and then the Straga bounces to my hand from the Demon Chord. I discard a Sweet Sweet to get the Demon Chord back. I do think maybe I did shoot myself in the foot here by not going for the Sweet Sweet. I feel like if I had thinned the deck a bit more, I would have maybe gotten better trigger checks. As you see, if you can see there, my hand is almost entirely made up of regular units. So there's not a lot of shield in it, even though it is a very big hand. There's not a lot of trigger units to use as guards, which means I'm about to eat some real damage this turn. He's doing his things, bouncing the card from hand, binding the one that lets him activate both wings to this turn. So we are going to, I think he is going to call another column. Yeah, with the Vanguard, he's going to go search the card that lets him get the Persona Ride back. This is a recommendation from me that Cat at first was not a fan of it, but I just told them it's pretty much a guaranteed Persona Ride every turn, because as long as you have a copy of it, you can just get your Festival Collection Celestial and then ride it for turn, and then discard any card and then get a copy of that card to hand, or to board, excuse me, and then it'll just be looping forever essentially. But here I intercept to get a block, and then he gets a heal trigger, no, a critical trigger, and right there is the moment that I pretty much lost this game. 2 of my Persona Rides are out of the deck, which means that I will have barely any offensive power for the rest of this game. And my trigger checks are not going to be incredible, but here he goes into the other Celestial to get that 4th attack. And unfortunately, from here on, the game does spiral in Cat's direction. As you can notice, that it is about We're about halfway through the video, but I'm already essentially telling you guys that I will be losing this game. So if you decide to duck out right here, I completely understand. But he does, you know, get that next extra attack with the restander, and then he swings with the rear guard for a solid 30 to my 3. So I have to use another PG to guard it. He uses that grade 2 ability to get that card, and then it goes into Soul. So now he has Persona Ride next turn guaranteed. I will play Sweet Sweet here to start digging through my deck. I get a, God, I can't remember her name, but she allows you to check top 7 for a Prism unit, which is pretty good. We are going to check to see if we can find a Late, which I do believe I already had one in hand, but I think I was trying to see if I could find a Persona Ride, and I do not find the Labrador, even though I go through the deck a couple times. And I think I decide to whiff here just to give myself some soul, since if you are to whiff with the grade 2, it just allows you to soul charge 2. The deck has a lot of whiff forgiveness, I guess. So a lot of the effects are like, well, you didn't hit anything, well, you'll still get something, right? And then I think here I forget to soul charge, but it does get fixed because I realized, wait, why do I only have 1 soul? Yep, there we go. Soul charge 2, no triggers, which is actually very good. But here I use the Strega to check top 5 again to see if I can find, you know, anything, honestly. But it's 2 fronts, a PG, and I believe it's a second Pretty Demon Core. Another replacement for that card I was thinking of was the new order from the set 4 that lets you counterblast 1 to give your whole board +5. That would be another good card to consider. But unfortunately, I just get a Late here, and then I decide to bounce back the Strega and then just call a Celtic to give itself +5. The Prism units, the grade 2 and the grade 1, only get +5 when they're called from hand to Rearguard or Guardian Circle. So that's why the Late on the left does not have +5. But nonetheless, I go swinging here for 18. Get rid of that Rearguard, and the grade 2 will bounce back to my hand. I was just confirming if it swung with if only swung at Vanguard, but that is not the case. Swing here for 15 guards. I'll Soul Blast 1, bouncing both of them. When I bounce them, I can counter charge 1, soul charge 1. Still not a trigger deck. I would like you guys to keep track of the amount of triggers I soul charge, because it is not as many as some people would consider. Then I counterblast 1 here. I call the grade 2 and the grade 1. They were called from hand, so they get +5/+5. Front row gets +5, and Vanguard gains a crit. Then I also draw a card. The card does a lot, honestly. It's insane. But here we go. Nothing. Excuse me. Front trigger here, which is actually pretty devastating. Cat does have to commit some cards. I don't think there's any orders left in deck, but I am just checking to confirm. Yep, there's none left. Unfortunately, I mean, I've already told you guys I don't win this game. I think honestly my mistake was probably not committing more to the trigger. I mean the sweets and getting the deck thinner and thinner and filtering a bit more. You'll see at the end exactly, because I show my deck, but my deck is quite thin. I accidentally soul charge early, and I'm like, oops, my bad. But here we go. Vanguard swinging for 30, but he got a defensive, which kind of made it easier to guard. I soul charged a heal here, which is unfortunate, but I needed to have a soul for next turn if there is to be one. Moving to Cat's turn. He gets to Persona Ride, which is something I won't be doing. Draws a card here, gets to put that card from bind into hand. Binds a grade 0, so he is on evens, which means he can just discard a card to get himself any Blackwing he wants from the deck, which is so good. It's honestly incredible. But he does have the Fanael, I believe is the name, so he just Soul Blast, you know, anything to get that crit to hand, which means he's got extra shield. And then guess what? He just binds the Black and White Wings enabler, which now lets him just have both abilities, which is incredible. That card, I wish that card was a grade 2 so they'd have some shield value, but unfortunately, you know, it doesn't happen. He just decides to discard a card to go fetch himself a, I believe it's the grade 0. We were talking about how he maybe should have been playing just a full set of that grade 2 that just gains boost when it's placed on rare, because having a 10k booster can just be pretty strong no matter where he puts it. And then in combination with the grade 2 that gets him Persona Ride, he can just, you know, get the Persona Ride back to hand, and then next turn he can just move the grade 2 that was in the back forward and then call another behind it, so he'll still have a 30k column, which is pretty good. 30k column, not needing Persona Ride or anything like that, is incredible. But here he goes. Next, my Vanguard. I think I guard this. Yep. And then he swings with Vanguard, and I kind of have to say, I think I just say no guard, yeah, because I have to. Take 1, no defensive. He discards a card and counterblast 1 to go search, because he's able to just put them back with that grade 1 that's behind Vanguard, which also will now restand, and the old Alestiel gives my Vanguard another -5, giving itself also a 5 and a crit. It swings here, and I believe I do guard this. Let's see, because he's swinging for 23, 28, 36, and I guard for 48, so it'd be OT to pass, but he doesn't have it. And he swings with the rear guard for, I believe, 26. So I have to kind of use quite a bit of my hand to guard this attack. I have to use the Lattes and the Celtic and the card to search, but I do get to survive the turn, which is actually pretty good. And the reason I'm okay with discarding those cards was because I thought, I drew the over trigger here, in case you were wondering why I dropped my hand. But I play the Pretty Demon Core, Soul Blast 1. I'm trying to find, you know, something, and I think unfortunately, yeah, this is where we see my last copy of Labrador. And if you're wondering why I called it, it's because there was no other real good targets. It was just triggers, so I said might as well get myself 3 attacks. Maybe if I can get some triggers, I can break through and actually win this game. He's at 5 or 4. I can't see very well, but I believe he was at 4. And I thought, well, maybe I can get lucky with my triggers and actually put some damage. There's quite a few triggers left, so I believe I go with Vanguard first because I do have some fronts left, so I'm banking on them. I believe he perfect guards this, or does he just let it go? So he does 38, which means no pass, but I do get a crit here, and then I get a Celtic. And then I swing with the Labrador for just 13, and then I swing here hoping to get a I do draw a card from that, but he had the perfect guard, so it didn't matter. The Latte does bounce to my hand, but the writing's been on the wall for a while, and we are about to see a man get brutalized by an angel. He does Persona Rides with the original Alestiel, gets to do the same thing. There's his Persona Ride. Yep, just gets to set up his combo very easily, gets to bounce the Persona Ride to hand. Both abilities are now enabled, so he's got Persona Ride plus 5k, a crit. My Vanguard loses 5. He did forget to bounce that grade 0 to hand last turn, but it didn't really matter. He wasn't really struggling for cards here, but there's another neg to my Vanguard. And I think I can live his attack, so I try to. In a desperate attempt, nonetheless, but I try. I do the OT, so it's OT pass. Yep, he gets a crit, and then I think that is, unfortunately, I just move it for him because, yep, the writing is on the wall. If he hadn't gotten the trigger, I would have had enough to guard, but unfortunately 23, 29, 39 was too much for me to handle. So yep, there is a heal trigger there, and that is game. This game was a bad showing for Prism. I think even me and Kat talk about it a bit, how my losing so many persona rights right off the bat made it real hard for me to kind of stay in the game, and then having committed so many cards to guarding and then just to see the overtrigger on top. And I believe this is where I show my deck, and yep, there is still 4 crits and 2 fronts left in deck, and then 2 perfect guards, which means my deck was almost entirely triggers and I still couldn't hit 2. If I had hit 2, I would have been able to probably pressure the cards out of Cat's hands, and he probably wouldn't have gotten this board that he got this turn. But you know, we are playing a luck game, so it is just gonna happen like that sometimes. I think here I'm just coping and molding about not winning, but both of us did learn quite a bit about this. I'm just showing Kat again that look, it's literally like a really good, and then that means that I had quite a bit. Yeah, there was still a heal, and there was only like 3 normal units left in the deck, and I still couldn't hit anything. But it's unfortunate, and it happens. Cat does his drive checks just to see what would happen on his end, but he did still have overtrigger, so if he hit overtrigger, I was gonna be game no matter what. But I think with that, this has been a maybe a bit more boring game, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was fun. These decks were fun. I definitely recommend them to people who are trying out, you know, newer decks, or trying out to see these new strategies. They are fun, so I definitely recommend them. But with that, this has been Leo. I'll see you next time.